Well, wow, I guess I'm the last one that I'm still standing. You guys are still here. So thank you so much for that. Did you guys get some great stuff from all these people so far? Oh, isn't it amazing? You know, I'll tell you quickly, and I think how much time do I have? Like, I'm the last one, so you guys are here till tomorrow, right? So I'll just give you kind of some brief background on me. I turned 60 in November, and it was my 30th year in real estate. So half my life I've spent being a real estate agent. More than half my life I've been married to that guy over there, Joe Crespillo. And it's been an interesting ride for sure. For the first 22 years, Joe and I ran our own independent brokerage. I got my license in '93. I did loans for a year. I hated doing loans. And I said, loans are not for me, so God bless all you lenders. Thank you for doing what you do, but it wasn't for me. So I had our second son. Jake was about 3 months old, and I decided I'm going to sell real estate. So I would carry him into the office in a little, baby carrier, and I worked for Luigi Caprio doing REOs. And the phones would ring like crazy, and next thing you know, I'd be going out and showing property. And I'd come back, because back then, y'all, we didn't have cell phones. That's how old I am. I'd come back to the office, and I'd say, hey, they want to write up an offer. And he goes, well, write an offer. I'd be like, okay. Next thing you know, I go, Luigi, the offer got accepted. He goes, awesome. I go, now what do I do? He goes, close it. I'm like, all right. I ended up selling 18 houses in my first 6 months, and I said, I think real estate's for me. So kind of like a couple of these others said, I thought I was super smart. So next thing you know, I went and said, I'm going to go open my own brokerage. Because you should do that when you've been less than a year in real estate, right? Open your own brokerage. Not the smartest thing. We opened our own brokerage. We actually ran it for 22 years. We were about 15 years in when we decided to buy a franchise because we thought that was the smart thing to do in 2009. Franchise was a huge, huge mistake, probably one of the biggest mistakes we made, because here's the truth. They made money on revenue, and we made no money on the profit. So part of this franchise, 2014, we decided to get out of the franchise and go back to being an independent brokerage. And right around that time is when we decided actually that we were going to just close the doors. Because when you go to sell a brokerage, what happens is they look at two things. They say, take your personal production, if you're the broker owner, out of the equation to see if the company's profitable. And if you're in a franchise, you have to sell it to somebody who wants to run that franchise. Well, this wasn't a franchise that was very popular. So we did, literally closed our doors. We walked in one day. It was one of the hardest days of my life to walk in and tell 120 agents, we can't do this anymore. 80 of them went to another local brokerage. And like Steve said, so many agents were calling, texting, going after our agents hot and heavy. And there were a couple of very respectful people, Steve and Gary, who said, we're not going to come after your people unless you tell us it's okay. So we shut down the doors. We went back to being independent brokerage. We had no intention of ever going and working for another company. I was like, not going to do it. I'm just going to do my own thing, keep my mouth shut, keep going. I got recruited by lots of companies. None of them made sense. KW flew me to Austin. Remax flew me to their events. I'm like, none of these made sense. I literally had zero interest in joining another brokerage. Then I get a call from Brent one day. And Brent had been a really good friend of mine. We at one point had even talked about getting into a franchise together. A lot of good things. And Brent called and he goes, hey, I want to talk to you about this model. I go, thanks anyway, Brent. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not interested. I said no. How many of you know how relentless Brent is? So a few days later, I hear he gives me a call. He goes, hey, do you want to go to lunch? I go, where are you, Brent? He goes, across the street. I'm like, all right, so we go to lunch, and this is the part that is key. He spent the next hour asking me how things were in my life. What's going on? How's Joe? How's business? What can I do to help you? What can I do to support you? Finally, at the end of an hour, I'm like, all right, Brent, what are you selling? What is this EXP thing? What is it you're doing? And he goes, meet me at my office tomorrow morning at 8 and bring Joe. And I'm like, right? But the key part here, you guys, is he did not say anything to me about EXP initially. He just wanted to get to know what was going on in my life and how things were and what he could do to help me. He basically was digging to see what I needed before he told me what he was doing. We went to his office the next day. We sat down. At that time, they did live webinars. It was 2 hours on the phone with Rob Flick, if anyone remembers those. And about 15 minutes in, after looking at the model, I said, this makes sense. You guys, we have been here now for 8.5 years. Trust me, if this model did not make sense, I'd bounce tomorrow. I could go open my own doors again tomorrow. There's nothing that's keeping me from doing that other than this company makes sense. And I have done more and had more opportunity in this company than anything else I've done in my 30 years. It never became more prevalent in 2020, COVID year, y'all remember that, right? When I also got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I sat there, remember sitting there with the doctor thinking, who's going to take care of my family? What's going to happen to them? I'm the primary breadwinner. My husband's retired, thanks to EXP. I'm the primary breadwinner, and I was like, what's going to happen to me and my family if I don't make it? And the next day, I literally open up my little EXP thing, and there's a $20,000 check from EXP for revenue share. I said, I think my family's going to be okay. That has changed my life. Now, maybe yours isn't 20,000. Maybe it's 200, you guys, which is grocery money for somebody. It's $200. It could be gas money, or it could be helping for a utility bill, or helping somebody with their kids' sporting events. This company is changing lives like I've seen no other company do. None. There's copycats out there. They're trying to figure it out. But we're already here. We've been here. We've been doing it. We got it all figured out by now for the most part. And so what is holding you back from attracting agents? People go, well, I'm not a recruiter. Well, neither am I. I don't feel like I have recruited one single solitary person, although I now have 543 or something as of today in my organization. I haven't recruited anybody. What have I done? I've focused on relationships and the value of those. And people go, oh, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, how many of you, when you got into real estate, did not know how to take a listing? I'm guessing all of you. How many of you had no idea how to write a purchase contract or how to represent a buyer when you first got into real estate? But you figured it out, didn't you? And you have the opportunity with the extraordinary people that surround you in this company who are all willing to help you. There's not a single solitary person in this room that I can see right now that if I didn't walk up and say, hey, I need some help with this, wouldn't say, sure, what can I do? In fact, I even had a conversation one day with Steve, and he goes, hey, I met with somebody today, and she used to work with you, and I told her if she joins EXP, she needs to come with you. I was like, wow, thank you. Would that happen at another? No, I don't believe it. I mean, maybe it does, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that kind of collaboration and cooperation. I've helped hundreds of people that are not in my organization, and I've had so many people help me as well. The most successful people that I know on this planet are the ones who ask for help. And y'all suck at asking for help. You're not sitting down and reaching out to somebody and saying, I need help with this. You're like, I'll figure it out on my own. I'll just do it on my own. And how's that working for you so far? Because there are so many people that are willing to help. And the beauty of this company is it's also built on relationships. When people say, oh, you're a recruiting company. No, we're a relationship company. Every single person, for the most part, that has been brought onto this company is because of a relationship with somebody. And let me tell you about the value of relationships. I'll tell you a story about a guy named Randy. Probably 2014 or so. I get this guy stalking me on Twitter. And I don't ever go on Twitter, so I didn't quite understand what was happening, right? My stuff automatically posts to Twitter from Facebook, or I'm not even sure how that works on social media. And I keep getting these messages, and he's liking my posts and asking me questions, tell me about your business. I'm like, okay, this guy's a creeper. But I started to engage a little bit because he had some stuff he was working on. He kept bringing value. He's like, hey, I've got this. You want to try this? Hey, you want to check this out? Try this. I'm like, okay. Next thing you know, I post that I'm going to an Inman conference. And he says, hey, I'm going to be there too. I'd love to meet up with you. I'm like, okay, cool. So I end up meeting up with this guy, Randy Toby, at Inman. We get to know each other. Great guy. He used to work at a company called Lion Desk. He wasn't actually a real estate agent, but he worked in the real estate industry. Get to know him. We have a great time. Super great guy. Meet him in San Francisco, and we stay in contact back and forth a little bit. He's telling me about some stuff he was working on. Fast forward, 2018, I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, I joined this company, called EXP. He goes, yeah, I've been starting to hear a lot about it. I said, if you know anybody in real estate, let me know. Just send them my way. Okay, cool. 6-8 months later, I get a call from him. Hey, I have this friend, Julie, out of Michigan, and they are looking at making a change. Were you willing to talk to her? I'm like, sure. I get on the phone with Julie. She's in Detroit, Michigan area. And I start to show her the model, and she goes, wait, hold on, I need to get my husband. I'm like, okay. And she goes, you know what, we're going to call you back tomorrow. They were up all night long looking over the model, explaining, looking over the webinar. And the next morning called and said, we're in. They've now been with EXP 6 years. They have about 200 people in their organization. That's how relationships work, you guys, and you're not leveraging them. You're not reaching out to the people that you know. Many of you are throwing up EXP. You're getting in front of them, and you're like, let me tell you how EXP works, and oh my gosh, you got to have revenue share, and you get this and you get that. And for some people, that's not important. You have to figure out what is most important to them. Think about a listing appointment. Do you walk into a listing appointment and go, oh my gosh, you have to do this, this, and this, and this is how it works, and you're going to make this money, and no, you go in and you explain the value, and you see what is most important to them first. You need to know from your sellers and your buyers what's important to them. Are they upsizing, downsizing, relocating, moving out of the area? Is it a probate sale, an estate sale? What is it? Are you spending that time to figure out what is most important to these people, or are you throwing up yourself and your company on them? It's no different in agent attraction. Are you spending the time to get to know these people and figure out what is important to them? If somebody had sat down with us at that time, which they did, and said, hey, I want to give you all this stock. I could care less about the stock. I didn't understand the stock. I didn't know about it. At the time when we joined EXP, I think it was trading at like $1 a share. I was like, oh, that's cool, whatever. I didn't really pay attention or understand. If somebody had focused all their time and attention on that, they would have lost me. If somebody had focused all their time and attention on production, they would have lost me because, 22 years I could die happy and never show another home, right? So I wasn't interested in that. But when I was able to understand and see the revenue share model for me and my husband at that time, it 100% made sense. But that might not be what's most important. You guys, people are struggling out there right now, are they not? Yes. People are trying. Some of you have a mortgage payment next week and you don't have the money to make it. And that's what you have to think about, is what can you do to help people? How can you serve? I loved what Steve said, how he is built to serve. And that's true. That is so genuine if you know him. So what are you doing to help these people? Maybe they need production. Maybe right now they're not too worried about revenue share, but they need to get a deal and contract. What can you do to help them get a deal and contract? What can you do to help them understand what is needed most? You guys, it's the little things that change people's lives, not the big things. And some of you are way too focused on the big things that you're not paying attention to the small details. I love that quote. I don't know who said it, but it says, small hinges open big doors, right? So it's little things that people need. Sometimes somebody right now just needs someone to listen to them because they're really struggling. They really need to try to figure out some options. And everyone's like, oh, just go recruit an agent. Okay, well, that's helpful, but that's a long game too. Brent will be the first one to tell you that he stayed in production. He spent 10% of his time focusing on agent attraction until he could get to a point where he could focus 100% of his time on agent attraction. And for many, that's all you need to do is spend a little bit of time each week. Build a relationship. Go out and connect with the people that you care about, the people in this industry. It's kind of crazy about this industry as I wrap up today. We spend so much time focusing on, I got to get a lead. I'm out there trying to get leads. And we're building those relationships, but we're forgetting about all the other really important relationships in our industry, which are the agents that we're going to work with more often, many times, than the buyers and sellers. You forget about your relationships with your lenders and your title and escrow people and your home inspectors. All those relationships are so incredibly valuable. And the last story I'll tell you, and you guys have probably all heard this a million times, but I'm going to say it again. How many have heard the story of Linda Buckmaster? Linda Buckmaster bought a house from me in 1997 for $50,000, a HUD home. She wanted to have a home for her grandchildren. The commission was maybe $700 or $800 at the time, right? Linda bought and sold 8 homes through me since 1997. But here's where it gets better. Linda has referred people who have referred people who have referred people who have referred people. 85 referrals, over $400,000 in commission since 1997. That's exactly the same opportunity you have at EXP. The exact same opportunity. I guess you could call it a multi-level, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I'm super grateful for the residual income of Linda Buckmaster from 1997. I'm even more grateful that there's a company called EXP that allows me to do the same thing. All we have to do is take care of the people that are closest to us. You do enough for other people, and you will get everything you want, right? So how much time are you spending helping and supporting the people that are in your industry, the people that are right in front of you that need and want your help? Are you doing that, or are you really focused on yourself? That's what we all need to do, is to put that time and energy into helping and supporting people where they are right now. They might not be worried too much about a year from now. They're trying to figure out how to make their mortgage payment. So what can we do to help and support those people right now? And this company, this opportunity is changing lives every single day. And you have the opportunity to change somebody else's life in the same way that Brent changed ours. So I hope that you'll put some time and energy into that. I hope that you will all grow. And I'm super grateful to be a part of this company and to share this time with all of you.